Microphone. Why it look like my thing? This thing is just crazy. Now my starting soon clip ain't playing. This is hella funny. They be hating on my streams, so I want to look on YouTube and look at my starting soon clip not even playing. That's hella funny. All right, there you go. No, look, it keep pausing. Look. See how they hating today? So how you just wake up and every day and stuff it be hella funny. But I don't develop that ghost in the machine theory. I just keep it popping. So let's go. You see how they do me though? Look, why this doing like this? I just wake up the next day and it's doing like this. Golly. But we got to learn something today. I'm gonna teach everybody who watched this video how to acquire property with no credit score, no nothing. You own it, it's yours. Let's go.
I've been bout my papyrus since I've been in it. Put me in the debate, you know I'm gon' win it. If I scream black power, don't get timid. If I say black city, I'm talking about Kemet. If I say black city, I'm talking about Kemet. Primary research and we done pushed it to the limits. All you dudes finished. The king counting cattle up with brother Reggie. When I'm in Oakland, smoking, bro, they love the Chevy. Back in the day, it was the spokes on the chariot. Long procession when the king got carried out to every spot. Woman looking nice as ISIS. I read ancient texts, so my advice is priceless. Nubian gold, your ice don't entice us. Beating me harder than counting grains in your spices. Your heart was beating, but your brain dead. You're lifeless. Yo, they ain't nothing like us, yo. Don't try to make me mad. Make me smile and say you love me, man. That's real right there. Come on. You should listen to your main man's advice. Do a YouTube, apologize like Dice. Or the back fade coming like the Antichrist. Egyptologists sent me reading and said that I'm nice. I got a speller with your name on it. I'm like Sargon. You the type of dude wake up and your car gone. Told, cause of the money you owe. Before you stream, you should clean up that humble abode. Like Akhenaten City for my woman in gold. I keep the pseudos running, people coming in droves. You catch me on a live stream with Pan-African James. When we building, call us by our African names. I'm for the children. And ain't nothing happen to change. We on that black hype, so we still packing them things for protection. Got connections, My complexion, pure black, that's the essence. Make me smile. You love me? Show me some love. All right.
Infinite awareness in the building. Shout out to you. I appreciate the kind words, family. You know how we do. We out here, man. We try to keep it shaking. We try to keep it popping. Just having to learn how to navigate society. I told myself at a young age I wasn't working no job like that. I mean, it had nothing to do with saying I'm gonna be a rapper, but I always was willing to get into the workforce and do things, but I gotta do it my way. So I'm gonna show y'all something I do my way, how you get property, how to acquire property. You want people calling you, making offers on your property. I just be getting offers. Offers, don't even be tripping. But getting them offers will make you feel good that you made a good investment. And this investment primarily talking about with my company. My group of brothers that we said, okay, we're going to pool our money and make shit happen. So I'm going to take y'all on a quick one. We talk about it a lot of times. How to acquire property. No credit, no nothing, just juke. All right, but I'll play another tune. Let's get it popping. Say something if y'all come into the chat. And I'll play something off a new Albert Jenkins album I got. A song called Starduster. Oh, the song is called The Design. The album's called Stardust.
Just rolling up the weed, ladies stop by my page when they scrolling up their feed. So I block the young chicks that ain't old enough for trees, but I like whatever comment that they bold enough to leave. Rappers follow me cause rhymes from my catalog read like an intergalactic battle log. Satellite feed to the spaceship. When traveling, my documents are placed in the basement of the Vatican, where scientists try to duplicate my rhyme patterns. To do this, they must lubricate the mind matter and find data to match the kind that I dispatch. I lace rhymes in the fabric of space-time. To meet you, I'm traveling back plenty of nights for him, like Pennies when he stabbed that Midianite whore with the javelin. That's in the Torah. I'm in the more than just recording for the art of slaughter. I told the king to pay tribute and he brought his daughter. Exotic trees in my horticulture, fly aeronautic products for the vultures. Raps hidden in imported sculptures. Got my custom broker scrambling to meet me at the border open. Connect got money to lobby to keep the border open. You ain't got no rhymes or no style neither. Cats get confused, heard more lines than wild zebras. Yeah. Hey yo, you couldn't imagine the colors in my kaleidoscope. The effervescent essence provided by my exotic folk. Regarded of how you plotted on nautical wavelengths and brought it from the basement to the pavement. The same shit as astrologists and astrophysicists. The love and knowledge of a lyricist is serious. The theory is mysteriously furious periods of time that it took. Fuck that, you ain't hearing it. If I'm capping on the track, is the capstone of the pyramid. I'm an expert and it's an experiment. And dropping metaphors is my favorite thing. I rock fly jewels, think David Slingshot.
Yeah, boy. That's right.
Yeah, I said it. Here's a couple of nice guys.
Yeah. That's slapping. That's a brand new album right there. Shout out to Terrell. It's show Infinite Awareness. Anybody else in the building? Universal, what's up? All right, I was just on my I just had to get on my business hype. I mean, you can't. How much time can you spend just, you know what I'm saying, studying? If you don't study nothing that brings, I mean, everything I try to present and study is intended to bring value into our lives. There's different types of value though. I'm thinking monetary value. You feel me? Like in business, you even gotta tell people what type of value they're gonna bring to your project. Have you ever got a sponsorship? Have you ever thought of an idea and have somebody put $100K on it? Have you ever got an idea and have somebody put $200,000 in-kind sponsorship on your idea just because you put it together right? That's all shit we need to be talking about. How you do that? How people do that? How you get your record in stores? How do you get your clothing line in department stores? How you do anything, man, besides just bump your gums and talk about, you know, YouTube, Cameron and Puffy and shit. I like talk. All those are shows to do. How you do this? How you do that? I mean, you know, cats be looking and cats want to know, but primarily, we all in last place when you talk about household income. So these conversations is needed. You feel me? These conversations is needed. I ain't even tripping. I'm right here. So me, I mean, my whole family in the real estate. All my sisters in the real estate, they either realtors or brokers. Mom in the real estate. My sisters either realtors, brokers, or loan agents. Mom in the real estate. And I always was like, I'm gonna go into real estate if that's what I need to do. But when I just was, you know, when I would be looking around for investments, certain times in life, maybe you might get a lump or something might happen. You might be looking around for investments so that you don't just spend all that money. right? So I started trying to look for different ways to acquire properties. You could go through my history of videos, probably search tax sale properties and stuff like that on my page, and find me talking about this information over the years. It's important, man. Cats be tripping. All right, let me ask you a question. How do you get a house to live in America? How do you get a house to do anything if you don't even want to live in it? How you do that in America? How we do that? What's the plan? What you supposed to do? Go get a loan? A mortgage? I got a mortgage, a business mortgage, but I ain't trying to do no personal mortgages. And what is ownership all about? Even talking in the record industry, cats want to own their masters. Why do cats want to own their masters? Owning your master, you don't get no money just for owning your masters. As a matter of fact, all of you who ever just made a song at the house, you own your masters. So what is this thing about ownership? What advantages? What is it all about? There are advantages, but they ain't as advantageous as they used to be. One thing is hard to access without ownership is equity. Equity is just paper, bro. It's just paper that accumulated in the value of whatever. You know, it's not only properties that accumulate equity, so. But sometimes we say these terms and people don't understand them as just what they are. How do you build equity? How does something build equity? Like, what is equity? What's all this stuff? Ownership for equity? That's why you want to own? For me, yes. You got other reasons. You want to be able to pass things down and do things like that. You want to be able to say, this is yours now, right? But equity is really what it's all about. There's people in America who simply just been living off equity. The value that accumulates, if we're talking about a property, you pay one price for, say you paid $100,000 for a house, and the market value go up to $150,000. How much you got in equity? $50,000. You can't spend that yet until you touch it. You got to access it. There's only a couple ways to access it. You get a loan on your property that'll give you some of your equity, or you sell it. People probably know other ways, but those are the standard ways. So how is that anything? Man, I know people who I know somebody bought a house for $93,000. And by the time they closed the deal, it was worth like $130,000. By the time they closed the deal, this was a while back, and I don't even know if I know people probably know better stories than that. But just in doing that deal, they made 30-something thousand. So that's why people refinance a lot of the times to get into a new loan so they can access some of their equity. They do that because they're owners. It's owners. It's a benefit of ownership. So how do you become an owner in America? That's the question. Like what? what they laid out for us ain't really what it all is. So basically, we all know the standard way. What I started researching was, what I would hear a lot about was people would be talking about tax liens, right? And you would see people talking about that, and I would wonder whether there was any truth to that. I started researching behind the person who was saying they was acquiring properties, and I started finding that there was some truth to it. And so, right now, I got my company sitting on acres in a few different locations, and we've been owning these properties about 6-7 years now. And we at the point of thinking about what to do with them. But since this method that we're going to discuss allows you to get properties at penny on the dollar, and the way that land has been, property's been, that value been going up. And so it kind of been like, not even like land banking, bruh, because it been going up better than some investments. Like if you could acquire a tax sales property. All right, now I'm gonna see if I can open up a screen and just start building. Peace to Sadiq, what's up? If you can acquire, which you can, it's some of the easiest things to do. One of the easiest things to do. Do you know how many? I bought 3 parcels. I bid it for 4 parcels. I lost 1. I bought 3 parcels without ever seeing a human. Not only without ever seeing a human, I bought 3 parcels without ever running my credit, ever. Didn't have to get a loan because the money was affordable. The house prices now, even a down payment for a house is crazy. You got to be sitting on hundreds of thousands. I don't care who in the chat is sitting on that and that. The averages statistics show the majority of black households ain't sitting on hundreds of thousands to pop on a house. So why people don't know about stuff like this? Let me tell you. And a lot of us know about it, but ain't never did it and think it's fake. And ask me, what am I getting besides a few views and possibly a contribution for telling you this? Well, for me, I can tell you personally, it's content, the type of content I respect having on any type of public forum that I'm disseminating information. That's first. I want my shit to be something people could go back and say, damn, bro, I just seen that on Smash Show. And that was real than a record deal. All right, maybe I'll just do separate pages. All right, so depending on, we're going to just start like this. And people pay hella money for these type of courses. And now, they do though. I don't know what I'm saying that for. I'm just valuing what I'm talking about. It'll get bigger. I'm gonna start making all my presentations for vertical. So I'm gonna start making shit hella big. Now let me see. My man 90s Crush said, I feel like the only time I see it can be done is like through an auction and you have all the money up front and they got these companies bidding like $100K. Yeah, definitely we're gonna talk about that process, but don't be discouraged because all it takes is good research, and during that process, you can beat people. You beat people out. for various ways to beat people out in online auctions, but we could talk about that, right? So I'm gonna do tax sales property, and then another one that's a different type of an investment, and I'm gonna ask some questions. I hope I spelled that right. As soon as I said that, I misspelled property. So I just put up two things. We're gonna just, oh damn, come on, stop playing with me. Simple. All right, first, what state you live in? You answered that question. What type of a state do you live in as pertaining to government auctions? Or as pertaining to government foreclosures? Do you live in a tax sales state or a tax lien state? I'm in California. If you live in California, you live in a tax sales state. Now, what is the opportunity in this? People got to understand the opportunity. In a tax, in both situations, when someone defaults on their property taxes, two different things happen. In a tax sales state, if you default on property taxes for 5 years, like they ain't gonna do it in the first year, they ain't gonna do it in the second, third year. But the longer you wait, the more it accumulate. See, if you couldn't pay year one, year two is double. So either you doubled your hustle, because if you couldn't pay year one, how you gonna pay year two? So then by the time it's year three, year four, this is how people be getting caught behind on their taxes. Year five come, now you gonna be scheduled to a judgment where they gonna either say pay, or they gonna give you a date to pay all your delinquent taxes, or they gonna auction your property. This happens in a tax sales state. All states ain't like that. Let me think of another one. How about I think Arizona may be, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't even want to say a particular state, because I don't even know about hella tax lien states. I don't do tax liens, but I research them in order to understand what it's all about. So a tax lien, and I said property, but we talking about the states right now. A tax lien state is what? If you default on your property taxes and you live in a tax lien state, after 5 years, they don't take your property. They just place a really high interest lien on your property. Now, the opportunity is for any American or any individual who will want to step up and pay those taxes. You just buy the lien, basically. You get the lien. I don't even want to say and pay those taxes. You purchase the lien on the property, and then you get that interest. And the interest is high. Like, the interest is like something different than any other type of investments. They be paying from 12 to 17% interest on a tax lien. So, say you got 3-4 tax liens, you getting 12 to Did I say 12 to 24? I think it's correct. 12 to 24% interest on your lien. That's good. But that ain't really what I'm talking about, because my goal was about getting properties, having the keys, being able to turn the keys and do what you want with the property. Now, this is what my man just said, and I want to address that now. 90s Crush said, I feel like the only time I see it can be done is like through an auction and you have all the money up front and they got these companies bidding 100K. They do. And it's also individuals that are bidding 100K. But if you go to, I would tell us to target high inventory auctions, right? You target a high inventory auction that got too many properties for that to happen. And a lot of the times you target a high inventory auction with a parcel that you want to target that has not been viewed as many times. Because really, ultimately, in the long run, all you want is some money up out of the jug. So I don't be caring where the property at. As long as I can get to it, you know what I'm saying? I don't care too much about stuff. I'm not about to live there. If you about to live there, then you'll make different decisions, and you're probably going to have to be in a bracket that my brother 90s Crush assumes is daunting, because those people got more money and you might not even be able to get no property, right? Because you're just going to get outbid. So in the strategy I'm talking about, is not necessarily about, you could definitely apply this to acquire living quarters, right? But then there's other factors that come into play when you about to try to acquire the property. You want it to look, you damn near want it turnkey. If you wanted a fixer-upper, that's fine. But most people wanted to lean towards the turnkey situation. If you ain't got 100 racks, it's probably, you can find turnkey situations for well, but you'll be all in the cut. I seen a house go for $13,000 in Indio, California. $13,000 is probably worth about $80,000. And so I'm not talking about no long ass drawn out process. As a matter of fact, this video won't even be hella long. It's not hard to do. The only, you know how you be wondering what's the trick or what's the problem, what might be the snag or the hang up? If you want to know anything, the only thing that really could get in the way, if they are out of the withdrawal stage where a person can't come back and pay their taxes after you purchased it, the only thing that could really hold you up is these couple of things. A break in the chain of title. I'm just going to write that down. And this is the game part. Because you know why this is the game part? Because they don't give you no training wheels. You just going to be looking at an auction website. And they're not going to tell you nothing. What's a break in the chain of title? Y'all know what a break in the chain of title is? That's what'll mess up your whole everything. That will stop you from getting the deed. Oh, excuse me. So, the chain of title basically links one buyer to a seller along a ledger or a history of transactions. A break in that chain is some inaccurate information recorded between any of those transactions. It will cause a break in the chain of title. So let me give you a example. If Mr. and Mrs. Owens sold a house to Mr. and Mrs. Robinson, that's clear. That's clean. Mr. and Mrs. Owens sold the house to Mr. and Mrs. Robinson. And then Mr. and Mrs. Robinson sold the house to Then Mr. Robinson sold the house to Mr. and Mrs. Paul. That's a break in the chain of title. Right there. And you don't see how? Because Mr. and Mrs. Owens sold the house to Mr. and Mrs. Robinson, or whatever I said, the second owners. But Mr. and Mrs. did not sell the house to the third owners. Only Mr. sold the house. Mrs. still has an interest in the house. There's no signature on there from Miss. She ain't breaking the chain of title. You don't get the deed. Now you understand? That's hella simple, huh? So you like, oh, I can research that shit by myself. You go to the county clerk and research it, but I don't advise that. So I don't have to explain that again. It's simple. If any break, it ain't just the one I illustrated. There are other ways that it break. Because if he be like, he purchased it as his individual property, but he's a sole married man, and it includes somebody else, you might get a break in the chain of title. And so, if you will, I would advise you to actually go and get a dictionary or an Investopedia. Definite matter of fact, why I ain't gonna do that unless we chilling. I'm gonna do that right now. I'm about to put break in the chain of title and see what dictionary definition they give us besides the explanation I just gave you. Right? I'll go to ChatGPT. And then there's a few other things you want to look at. What is a break in the chain of title? And let's hear their explanation. It should line up right with what I said. A break in the chain of title means there's a gap or a missing link in a historical record of ownership. See? So that missing link was Mrs. Robinson wasn't on the document when Mr. Robinson sold it to the third owners. Here's how it works. And but before that, let me read the sentence that says, I'll pull it to the screen so y'all can see it. It says, basically, one of the previous transfers of ownership was not properly documented or recorded. What chain of title means, a chain of title is a chronological sequence of recorded ownership transfer for a property from the original owner, often called the patent or grantor, down to the current owner. Each time a property changes hands, a deed or legal document should be recorded to maintain the chain. What causes a break? A deed was never recorded in the county recorder's office. A transfer was made improperly, for example, a missing signature, or not notarized. These things would be a break. And this is the stuff you got to look at before you. So what are you going to do? I just found a title company. And I will tell you, I would use Pro Title USA. They're probably still online, and if you were interested, you could use them too, because they did chain of title. Back in the day, they did chain of title searches for about $88 a house. Now I think they do it for about $180. So you got to understand this research cost, because you're not guaranteed you're going to win that house. So you could have researched 10 houses, find out they cool to auction on. I mean, they cool to bid on. And then by the time the auction start, 3 of them be gone because the people paid their taxes. And others, you know, it'll be all kind of stuff that'll make you say, damn, the other ones get bought by people. And you're like, damn, I'm $1,000 down on research. But the ultimate goal, it don't matter. That come back multifold because none of these ain't like when I was in crypto, I'm always searching for 100x or 50x. If none of these ain't like a 10x, it ain't really. I mean, if it could do a 5x, that's still cool. But think if you acquired it for 10,000, now you got 50,000. Okay, that's cool, right? You see what I'm saying? But yeah, it's possible to do that because here's the deal. When a person owes the government for property taxes, the government is required to only go after the property taxes in the foreclosure. It does not matter the value of the parcel. It don't matter. It could be $20 million. The government is never going to try to go after it for the property market value. That's against the law. They go after only the property taxes. Now, what type of situation will cause a person with $1 million house to not pay? Well, let me see. About in Oakland, be about 10,000, 12,000 in property taxes, whatever that year. A lot of different things could cause that, right? And they got 5 years. So now they up to 50, whatever. They up to what? Whatever. I said 12, so they up to like 58, something like that. Whatever, something like that. Right? That they owe in property taxes. But they still had $1 million house. Can't come up with the 58. The government is not gonna say this is $1 million house. Let's ask for 250,000. Let's ask for 500. They simply ask for the property taxes. And so there goes some of your research because all of the margin is right there in you knowing the difference between how much they owe in taxes and what the value of the parcel is really worth. Right? Man, you can find some. Now it's different situations because some of us might think that that's like a predatory something. Hell no, because every situation ain't what you think. I even know from being an owner and choosing to pay my property taxes when I want to, and based off of whether or not I could make even more money than the penalties with that money. That's just another talk. But you see what I'm saying? So some of these be businesses on something. Some of it's all situations under the sun that cause people to not pay their property taxes. Right? And so it create a number of opportunities. And you could think philanthropically. You could find people that way who's losing their property and be trying to help them and be just like, okay, I'm just buying, y'all can keep living here. I actually, when I had a company called Real Property Protectors, I had this, I met a family that was losing their property. And they didn't know what to do. They lived on like 98th in Oakland. And they just was like, got on their religious stuff and was like, they wasn't going to do nothing. They just going to pray. So I was like, damn, they going to lose that motherfucker. They prayers worked because they've gotten to the same situation I'm talking about. And somebody bought the house in an auction, came to their front door, and was like, hey, I just bought y'all a house in the auction. But I ain't even tripping. Like, I don't, I just buy properties. Here's the new address to send y'all rent, and y'all good. So she was so old, it was her house she lost, but the people who bought it let her live in it until her. I don't want to presume anything, but this was like 20 years ago, and she was very elderly. So hopefully they let her live there for the rest of her shit. You know what I'm saying? Right? You saying basically to find something cheaper is going to be in a low income state or somewhere in the cut. Not necessarily. I found parcels in California. Everything I bought is in California, right? And one of the best ones, probably the offers that I get right now is like 4 times what I bought it for. You know what I'm saying? And that was bought about 7 years ago. So, but we'll take a look at some of the stuff. So we was talking about a break in the chain of title. It's one of the most important things that can mess people up when they trying to just, because you ain't gonna have no training wheels, right? You ain't gonna hire no lawyer or none of that. Not to get an online auction. Who did I use to insure? Because title companies give you insurance. So if you use a title company, let's see if they're still alive. Still around. I used to use a company called Pro Title USA. Let's see if they're still there. Pro Title USA, title searches. Look, bow. You can come to Pro Title USA, put the address and stuff right here, click the amount, and they hit you back with the details. And like, you can order 24 hours. It depends on if you in a rush or not. You shouldn't be in a rush. And they will guarantee you that their results is right. If you got confidence in yourself, it's not hard to identify a break in the chain of title. But it might be 1 or 2 that we're not familiar with, and you think everything is all good, and everything ain't all good. You know what I'm saying? So I would use Pro Title USA, or any title company could be able to research your property and tell you if there's a break in the chain of title. Now, what else would be ugly if you bought a house through an auction in a tax sale state and didn't do your research correctly? I know, you know that if you buy a property like this and it has a lien on it, you bought the lien too. Remember that. That means if you bought a property like this and the owner owed somebody 60 bands and they put a lien on the house, now you the new owner through a government transaction, then you bought the lien too. Because the lien is on the property. And the lien was on the property before you bought it. That means there's some amount of value that's going to get extracted up out of the property sale through that lien, no matter what. If you got around giving that money to that lien, then you bought the lien. And so you don't never want that. You don't never want to buy auction property and find out them people didn't pay their garbage bill for 10 years, and now you got to pay a 10-year garbage bill to get your garbage turned on. So, liens and encumbrances. Liens and encumbrances. And I'm about to Google that because I remember the word, but I'm about to try to explain that. It sounds hella funny. So let's see what encumbrances. Yeah. I want to be able to define that right. What are encumbrances? It's just like liens, but I don't want to mess that up. So I'm about to put this up here. It's not just like liens, but let's let them say it, because I'm trying to answer before. Any claim, yes, just like I said, just like liens, bro. Any claim, lien, or legal right on a property that limits the owner's ability to transfer it, use, or use it freely. All right? So, liens and encumbrances. And since an encumbrance says lien under it, we could just say encumbrances. But the way that they normally research it, you say liens and encumbrances, a title company know what you're talking about. Now the last thing is what? The last thing, because the last one, so we got, let me put it up there. Breaking the chain of title. Liens and encumbrances, and what? That looked wrong, but it didn't go off with the red writing. You know, that's spelled right. Liens and encumbrances, and what's the last one? It was just in my, encroachments or easements. So encroachments or easements. So it's like this. Encroachment is something coming up on your property or something. That's not going to stop you from getting the property, but it's something you want to know about. If it's a designated part of your property you can't use. And that's also an easement. So say I bought a landlocked parcel. I cannot get to my property unless I travel over another person's property. Therefore, an easement on another person's property is negotiated to where if you own a property with an easement on it, you can't even use the area of your property that got the easement on it. That's for a person whose property is landlocked and they can't get to it. So you would want to know, right? I said, look at your bank statements. You see my Hancock. I just put an easement on a parcel that was landlocked. But I know they didn't know what that meant. But some of the bosses knew what that meant. I said, I just put an easement on a parcel that was landlocked. See, that means you couldn't get to the parcel. You could buy it, trust me. Don't worry about not having access to your parcel. You negotiate an easement. And the government is on the side of you because there ain't no way in the world you could buy something you can't get to. So they going to pressure the other owner to give you an easement through their property. I don't want to say pressure. I never had to do it. So I don't know how they do. They just do like eminent domain and say, here's a street to his property through your property and you have to take it. Nevertheless, you would want to know if that property has those on there. Now, believe it or not, if you done that little research, and this is probably like $150, $200 worth of research every house. Put it on the screen bigger. And some of this you can do by yourself. So how do you research a title without pro title, you would say? You go to the county clerk or the county recorder who got all the records for the county, and you could do it. You could do it yourself, but you got to trust yourself and use ChatGPT. I mean, you could download the document and pop it in there and say, do you see a break in the chain of title? Using AI, bro, you got to understand. My man says, you can also get abandoned and distressed homes for pennies on the dollar as well. I bought an abandoned home on 3 acres for $20K and fixed it up in a barn. Oh, nice, good one. Yes, sir. And the site that we looking at got access to those homes too. I never did that yet, but I've been talking to my wife, like, why don't we just do it? Like, let's just see. You know what I found, Afro Nation? And I did it live on the live stream trying to motivate people. We found $1,000 house in Pennsylvania that was, the market value was $224,000, yo. But it wasn't in the condition to extract that value. You probably had to put 30, 40 into it to get that value out. And I'm sitting here like, why can't we be always talking about things that we could do in order to put money to any type of movement? Well, you gotta move. First you gotta actually do something, right? And so we got trust issues and shit, right? As a people in the community, now they got ways where you don't even gotta put your income in somebody else's bag. Y'all just all go do the same thing together in the same area. Like, yo, we all buying one of these $1,000 houses on this same street. You gonna have 884 Pine Street. I got 889 Pine Street. We don't have to be attached by the hip with everything. But this is the way that you make that work, man. I'll be like, cat's tripping. And you could do this for little money that you could raise on YouTube. You could do a YouTube channel, be hella controversial, get 3 YouTube checks, and go to the auction and get a house. Well, I made that sound easier than it would ever be. But the amount of money we talking about start in the hundreds is what people don't understand. So let me show you the only place you should go, the only place I ever recommend you go. And I'm in here now. It is called Bid for Assets. Now there's a scammer site up. I don't want to call them a scammer site, but it ain't this one, and it's called the same thing. It's called Bid for Assets with the word FOR. You do not want to go to that site. I don't know if you want to go there, but I don't know nothing about that site. All I know about is this site that the government uses. Bid for with the number 4 assets. This process is so simple. Let me blow up my screen, and I do this every time so you can see. I'm going to click this Smash Rockwell. I'm going to click my account and come down to my summary. What's up? All right, I'm going to step out in a minute. Come down to my summary, and you see my bid summary. You see my watch list had 35 properties on it. Auctions 1, 3, but bid deposits 4. So it basically means I tried to get this 4th one and I lost. But I'm 3 for 4. So think about it. The chance, and I'm not big wigging. Like the money that I was working with, very limited. And I was still able to win 3 of the 4 auctions, right? That I entered. I employed different tactics to raise the probability of me to get the property, right? One of my tactics is just like playing a video game or something. It's an online auction. So me, I don't even want to, I mean, these online auctions on Bid for Assets, they run for 3 days. So you can't really like sneak and get it. You just got to find one that don't got as much scrutiny, and this is going to be the process. First thing we're going to do real quick is, well, let me slow down. Because as you look at all of these things, you'll come down here and see Deed Wizard. Remember I told you I acquired properties without ever seeing a human? Bruh, when you win an auction on Bid for Assets, and if your title is clear, you get your deed through their Deed Wizard. Boop, boop, got the deed. Now you can go act in real life. See, I wasn't walking up on no properties like this my shit. Move. Because, I'm not going to do nobody like that anyway. Unless it's like a squatter or a vagabond or something, But I'm saying, like, I wasn't even having the courage to go up to, because I bought a mountain property, one of them. And I didn't have the courage to go there without the deed. Hella white people and shit. Like up in the mountains. You feel me? And the first time I went, bruh, no lie, white boy with his pistol come walking on the property. Just walking with so much courage. Like, you feel me? Like just knew that he could do what he was doing. I swear to God, next time you see me, I was strapped in the motherfucker all on my hip. I put that on, hey, I gotta come on the camera. I said, that's never gonna happen again. I'm up in the motherfucking mountains at a newly bought parcel, so I'm black, dude. They don't even expect to see me, and they know that house over there been abandoned for a minute and shit. Man, dude come walking up, fat pistol on his hip. By himself, dog. And I'm like, damn, I ain't got shit. I'm up in the woods. But he was hella cool, dog. You feel me? You just gotta have that. He wasn't even thinking about me. He just had that because he was walking around up in the woods, right? You feel me? No, he didn't tell me to get lost. Let me tell you this. You ain't gonna even believe it. Bruh, we start talking, me and the white dude, because he my new neighbor now, and I let him know, yo, I bought this, boom, 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 got it in the auction, just talked to him, all that stuff. He like, where you from? This is in Toll House, California. He like, where you from? Yeah, I got California properties on this side. I tell him Oakland. He like, I'm from Oakland. I used to live in Oakland. He thought he was gangster, bro. Guess what he started talking about? East Bay Dragons. I felt hella good. He didn't start talking about like no Bay Area white culture shit. He went straight to black culture. He was like, yeah, me and my one boy, we had a big bar fight. He was from the East Bay Dragons, and I was there, and the dude hit him, and we start fighting. And this is how that turned out, bruh. Like, I was like, damn, it's hella crazy. But he still got his pistol on his hip the whole time we talking. But it's cool now, though. He was like from Oakland, the neighbor up in Toll House, from Oakland, white dude, ready, like, you know, but he older, like, looked like he might have been 62 with his beard shit. That dude was hella cool, bro. Then, let me tell you this. He name dropped on me. Guess who he used to roll with, bro? My neighbor up in, our neighbor. This is a crew property. Guess who he used to roll with? If you from Oakland, anybody in the chat, bro, this is hella crazy. He name dropped Otis and Suge, bro. And he said that was Otis and Suge daddy that he was talking about. Bruh, I told him, man, Otis and Suge on my album, family. I got a songs with Otis and Suge. I said, this is crazy. But then later I came back to the property and he stole my chain I put on the fence. So, I mean, I assume he stole my chain because hella people don't come to that damn parcel. So I'm like, oh, now I come back and the brand new chain that I put the lock up, the whole chain was gone. Why I think he told it? Because when I first came and once we got cool, he gonna say, oh, my son took your fence. Imagine that. He still got the pistol on his hip. You know, I didn't give a fuck about that fence. We was all up in the woods. I was the nicest motherfucker about that fence. I ain't had no stick. I didn't have a rock. I ain't had nothing. He like, my son took your fence. I tried to stand a little bit of ground, like, when he gonna bring it back? Because I just bought the parcel. It was new. He didn't even have to tell me the fence was there. I would have thought it was no fence. He was like, my son took your fence. I'm like, when he gonna bring it back? He didn't work that out. So I went and bought a chain, put a fat ass chain across the opening, came back, like a month or two later, the chain was gone, bro. I was like, oh, this shit. I ain't went back since. You know what I'm saying? And then I got a letter from another neighbor next door. Like, what you about to do with that parcel? But anyway, that's just storytelling. I do recommend bid for assets. My partner was talking about the dollar properties. Let's look at that first. If you wanted to see that and you came here, let me see, why is it so big? Damn. You're going to come to $1 no reserve auctions. Now, I have no experience with these. You feel me? So somebody with experience with these can tell you what the ins and outs. Yeah, he took the chain and the fence and was from Oakland. I wasn't tripping. It was like, I mean, you know, he had enough. He was like, whatever. I wasn't tripping. But look, you seeing $1 parcels in here. Here don't want somebody bidding on a third of an acre in Polk County. You'll see a lot of dirt patches that you could get for $1, but you also will see some standing properties in this section. I don't peruse this section. I'm not even, you know, when I go county tax sales, right? And you see they got counties all over America. Pierce County, Washington, Nye County, Nevada, blah, blah, blah. But different, see, these sales only happen once a year. So what we see on here is simply what's rotating through October, November, December. If you find a good auction like this Sonoma County, that's a good one. Calaveras County, good. And we'll look through them and we'll see just how simple this is, bro. It ain't even, you just got all the stuff that they would have taught you in the class. All what you got to research, it ain't no more than that. If you want to go look, go take the class, you're going to be like, damn, he already told me all this shit. And if you really think about it, if you really insecure, you talk to your title company that is giving you the insurances. A simple question is, so if I bought this house in an auction, after they give you your chain of title, encumbrances and liens, you simply ask, great, so if I buy this house, since they give you insurance, so if I buy this house now, I'll receive the deed? Simple question. And if you got a breaking chain of title, they'll say, no, you won't receive the deed. And if they got everything right, the title company will tell you yes. And they'll give you their insurances. But, let me see. I'm going to click Sonoma County. Now, look right here. This is the first place you're going to see whether you can even mess with the auction. It say bids start as low as $1,400. See? The probability that a person owns a nice parcel and they're going to let it go for $1,400, that they can't come up with $1,400, is low. But you have to also think they haven't came up with that $1,400 in the last 5 years. So this just simply means the cheapest parcel in this auction is starting at $1,400. Right here is 57 properties. This is not a good auction. Only 57. I only get in if it's like 800, 700, because I already know that's too much liquidity. It's too many properties. You can't research all of them. What company could even research 800 properties unless that's all they do? How much would that cost? You see what I'm saying? And so it gives you more the odds that you might find a parcel that's not being targeted. All the eyes on this gonna be over 500. You're gonna see what I mean when we start to look at the parcel. So now we know whether we even want to research this one. If I didn't have, with 20, 30,000, with 10,000, 5,000, I ain't researching this one. It's Sonoma County. It's too beautiful. right? It's only 57 properties. I'm gonna get beat. I'm gonna waste my time. But just for, so I wouldn't do this, but just in case I had more money, it's 57 properties. Say I'm stepping to the auction with 150, 200. Please, you could turn that to $1 million in Sonoma County. Now let's see if what I'm saying is true or if it's some bullshit. Because the properties are right here, and we got all the tools to see what they'll be worth if you acquired it. So I'm trying to make it big so y'all can see, but then sometimes when I look at my monitor, it's just way too big. But I'm going to value you guys over me and keep it big. Let me see, Sonoma County. So, right, this is one parcel we're going to see. It has an address. That's the first thing you're looking for. Because you can get some that don't got an address on here, and you know it's probably in some unincorporated area. Now, when it got an address, before you even finish on bid for assets, pop that into Google real quick to get a real world assessment of what this is doing. And you're going to get very, so now you can get a street view. Like this is going to be, look, there you go. So we already own to something. I told you Sonoma County going to be too hot. This is livable. I don't know the condition of this property. But just from what I look at right now, please, I'll park my shit right in the front, trim them hedges, be good. If it's in the condition, I mean, this is the Google condition, right? So we got to Google. Well, now we're going to go back and we're going to go to Zillow on the same property. So you see the same, look, 549,000 is the Zillow estimate. Now, why Zillow say not for sale and all this shit? Because it's not on the market. Zillow don't even know it's in the auction. It's not going to be like, oh, it's about to be auctioned off. You could come up. This is research valuable to you. So now we know the property. The first property we clicked on is the market value is 540 if it's in living condition. Let's go back to here and see what the other. Look, the current bid is 30,000. I know you know numbers, so I don't even have to tell you what you just saying. The bid increments are 100, but I gotta make this smaller just real quick. Now look, this is what, this is what you know is all bad. Because let me show you. Right here, 753 other people is up on this. You see what I mean? And they basically doing the same research we doing to see if the property, it got 0 bids right now. The starting bid is 30,000. It's gonna close in 32 days. That means the auction gonna start in like 29 days. If you thought this was interesting, you just simply put it on your watch list. You do not research properties until like the last 10 or 5 days before the auction, unless you want to waste hella money. See, this person, if this is this could be plenty of scenarios. Let's just take this as a family scenario, right? Somebody died and ain't no responsible heirs to pay, wasn't no responsible heirs to pay the taxes for the last 5 years. You see all the overgrowth, right? So if that's the case, ain't nobody gonna pay this 30,000. Then it's about to go through for that. But in my history of watching these auctions, in an area like this, bidders are going to be willing to go up to 10 times this amount. And so I already know that's going to go for like 300,000. Because they don't be wanting to make
10x. They like, man, if I bought something for $300,000 and it's worth $500,000, that's no brainer. That was the first one we looked at. Now, if you think there's some disconnect between you owning that house and something I'm saying, there's not. Let me read it to you. Sonoma County, California is offering 57 real property parcels for auction online. Bids start as low as $1,400. There are no, these are all no reserve auctions. Okay? That means whatever the final bid is at the final time, that's what you got the house for. It don't matter if it's worth more. Preview now. Now look, check this out. A single, don't be scared because this get put to your house. A single $5,000 deposit plus a $35,000 non-refundable processing fee is required to participate. That's just so they know you serious and ain't sitting on the computer clicking bids, running the price up and shit. They give you this deposit right back. If you don't, it don't take no government time. Like the deposits come back hella quick if you don't win a house, right? So it says, please note that for Sonoma County, all prospective bidders must fill out their vesting information before they're allowed to access the deposit. Notice they didn't say we need your credit score. They didn't need to know if you was a felon. They don't need to know none of that. This is the process. Look, your deposit must be received by bid for assets no later than 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, Monday, November 3rd. See, because it go like this. The auction starting on November 7th. And this is how you win auctions, dog. I'm telling you, bruh. People be forgetting to get their money. This is how they make it. This is the only thing you can exploit. Hoping that people forget to get their bread in. Because the auctions start on, look, this is how they do it. And this is how you come up. I'm trying to tell you, look. It go like this. Auction starts November 7th. So most people, especially newbies, I've did it before, you gonna write that date down, November 7th. If you run up on November 7th, you can't bid. Because the deposit deadline is November 3rd. So a lot of times, not a lot of the times, but you might see an auction that you thought was gonna be hella people in it. November, it could be on like a holiday weekend or something. Like it'd be different factors, bro, and you gotta learn how to exploit them. Like the football, it's Super Bowl Sunday. Anything like that, it'll make people not get their deposit in. But you gotta count on things like that because you ain't got nothing else to count on. So, like if I find one like, man, this is hitting on a Monday, on something weird, then I would be like, man, I'm probably gonna try to see if I could, be one of the people in this auction. But anyway, let's continue. Now look, deposit refunds. All depositors to non-winning bidders will be refunded via e-check within 10 business days after the close of the auction. So that ain't even spooky. And this is right on the front page. This page is certified. You could go, they got police videos and all kind of shit on here. And I used it multiple times. All right, so here go your settlement instructions. You got 48 hours. See, it's not like you got to do nothing. You just got 48 hours after you win to break bread. Now, here goes something that's hella funny. Because, like I said, just being a brother trying to figure out life, I be trying to say, well, what if you bid on some shit and didn't have the money in 48 hours? What's going to happen? Guess what's going to happen? You just can't bid no more, bro. Real talk, though. I was like, hell no. Then I was like, man, okay, I'm one of them ones, bro. I ain't never had to. Everything I had the money, but I was in my head like, so if I win a house that's worth $1 million, but I need to come up with 300,000 in 2 days because I won. I don't got enough LIPs to make that happen. I don't know enough people to make that happen. You can't, hey bro, I just won $1 million house. I just did it on some other shit, but I need 300 motherfuckers. They gonna kick me out in 2 days. And what? I was like, boy, I'd have ran it like that. I didn't have to though. I'm just keeping it all the way a buck. How people don't keep it a buck on YouTube, right? That shit had me like 48 hours, please. I'll put that shit on the gram. You feel me? And be reaching all over the world like, man, check the, and if not, but let me not talk about that no more. But I just was like, okay, it's not like, oh, they come put me in the Bing or something. They just like, you get kicked out and you never be able to bid on an auction again. But I never had to be thinking about that type of shit. I just wanted to say, talk about it. Now let me see. This is the second parcel. The current bid is $33,000. So these don't look all that entertaining, and I know this house is gonna be over $500,000 with the bid at $33,000. Right? Let's go to Zillow. 457. 475. You see how my dyslexia kicked in? And this look turnkey. It's probably like a townhouse or something. Look, they say off the market right there because they don't know. So I don't want to keep looking at these that keep saying 30,000, 20,000. Some of us could do that, but everybody can't. I'm going to look at the ones that got. Since this auction starts at 1,400, he gonna want 8,000. Now this is in the ballpark, and it got an address. Golly, in Petaluma, how many people? Only 400 people. I mean, that's a lot of people, but it ain't 700. And that let me know that, damn. So let's click this one. 600,000. They owe 800 in taxes. Now let me ask you, bud, you gotta use everything. Look at the line. They're not preparing. Look at the line. They are not preparing to pay them taxes. You just gotta use your brain. I'm just saying, not your brain, but every little thing that you can look at because it's 8 G's, right? That's not a lot of money. No one's really going to try to lose this $600,000 house over 8,000. So it might be a different situation. I'm even looking at this one chair in front of the garage. Like this might have been an elderly person house. Like, why is just one chair in front of the garage? Like, you know, them porch people when they just sit there. But anyway, I'm overthinking. The facts are, Zillow says it's worth $665, and we see it being auctioned for $8,000. It sounds fake, don't it? It sounds fake, don't it? It sounds like ain't no way in the world I'm gonna pay $8,000 and get a $600,000 house. All right. Well, it probably ain't because all of the 418 other people. See, of these 418 people who viewed this page, half of them probably gonna get their deposits in and be ready. And then so you got 200 and like, well, it's 418, so you got 209. Now, you got 57 houses in here out of those 209 people. People don't got money to bid on hella different houses. You just bid on the one you targeting. So if you divide, let me get a calculator out. If you divide 209 by 57, and it's not going to be hard, 200, y'all probably know the answer already. Divided by 57. That means there's going to be possibly four people per house bidding. If the houses value are equal like they looking like all these houses we looked at was over a 20x markup, and if this whole auction got it like that, and the numbers stay at what you might only be bidding against 3 people. $63,000. No need to look at that. If you do the 10 times theory. So if I'm really going to bid on a house, I want to have 10 times the bread. So I want to have 80,000 to bid on this. See what I'm saying? And it's worth 600, so that's fine. It's say 8, but you don't want to get beat, right? So I find shit that's hella low. We gonna find it because they told us there's one in here for 1,400. So we're gonna find that one. And this is the research. You see how much time this is taking? But look, imagine an auction that got 800 houses. I'm going to start using Claude AI to locate properties in here when they got too much inventory. I'm simply looking at the current bid price, and I don't want to keep showing the stuff up in the that's not too much for a house. 40,000, yo. 9,000, that's a good one. It got an address, but it's unincorporated. And it only got only 275 people looked at it. You know what I'm saying? Over the next 32 days, that number will grow. But since it's unincorporated, I don't even think we're going to see nothing. So I've sat here like when I was that'll be something you probably needed to get. This is when you start talking about easements and stuff. It's gonna be all over here. You're gonna have to get a road cut to there. I'm cool on all that. But now, so let me show you the opportunity that is there for you. We're looking through an auction with only 57 houses. I already know I couldn't win nothing in Sonoma County with the amount of money I got with that little inventory. But one of these auctions that I'll show you is probably going to have almost up to over 500 houses. And we only looked at about 6-7 houses today. Not even that more, 3 or 4 houses. And it took us like 20 minutes. So in order for somebody to really look over 800 houses and really do the research, sometimes, it's not enough time. And it's definitely an opportunity there when you have these really, really high value auctions. This is very good, but it's an unincorporated. It's $4,500. It got an address, but it's in an unincorporated. So you know what this is going to be? It's going to be in one of those developing neighborhoods without probably a house on it. See, look, I look even worse. I can't really see what that do. It just showed me some trees, some cool. But I ain't mad at just some trees. If you understand owning things when you walk into the bank, first thing you got to do is a financial statement. If you want to get some money. And if you ain't got nothing on your financial statement, like no assets, you're going to look boozy. So just to have assets on that line make you look better. And I ain't going to make this be no long-ass video. So I'm going to look at a few more parcels. I'm trying to find that cheap one. Look for a few more parcels. Hold on. And I'm going to end it. 100,000. I just want to see they owe 100,000 in taxes. This might be $1 million house. Watch. Yep, 859. See? So if you had that, if you got 100, 200, you could bid on that. But this gonna go for probably like 350 or 350. and that person gonna make $500,000 on that day in equity. I mean, this is turnkey as turnkey get. And they owe 100 on it. I don't think they're gonna come up with that. But look at the difference. They got decorations and shit on their shit. They might come up with it. Like if you still in the mood to put, see, we're talking about 5 years of taxes. We're not talking about 1 year. So this picture and these decorations are relevant. If you still are in the mood to put decorations up for Easter on top, these big blow ups and shit, then you gonna pay them taxes. He gonna come up with that 100. Trust me. Shit be looking dilapidated. You like, oh, they not coming up with that, bro. That's just my own way to judge. That's not like no real thing. But you gotta go off everything. This is 50,000, and it's gonna probably be worth over 500,000. Because I'm looking at these neighborhoods in California. Yeah, 675,000. All right, and then everything we looked at is turnkey because of the auction we're in. I'm about to get out of this auction because it seems like, oh, it's an impossibility. Let me show you different areas of America. Dude, you gonna click on one where people don't want nothing? You can own the whole everything. And it's still property, it's still gonna appreciate. So let me go to, I don't even know, what's that, Maine? M-N? Golly, what is this? Minnesota, I'm tripping. Look, all right, 1,800 and there's only 19 parcels. This ain't a good one either. I'm gonna try to find one with hella parcels. Real quick. How many in here? 36. I'm just gonna try to find one with hella parcels. 22. Excuse me. 39. Again, I'm looking for one with more parcels to increase our chances of actually being able to acquire a property. The ones with more stuff auctioning, people got less time to research. This one got 87, and it started at 4,000. And remember, this is a once a year process, so you're gonna be looking all year if you really doing your research right. To target, especially if you target in the area. None of these have really high liquidity. 172. This one got the most, and the bid started at $300. But look at where it's at. Parrish County, Nevada. Nevertheless, I'm going to see it's 172 properties. Now watch how nobody looking at these properties because of the count. Watch this. This don't matter to a person who don't own nothing, bro. First you start owning shit, then you upgrade. It got an address. Oh my God. This is $5,000 with an address. Don't let it be a property on here. Oh, this is a proper. This is a house. Oh, this is a double wide that's worth $35,000. Now let me tell you, see what I mean? You don't worry about that. You paid $5. Now let me show you the difference. Watch this. How many people viewed this? 43. See what I mean? You see the difference? Only 43 people know that this parcel, I'm calling it a parcel because that's just the land and everything. You don't have to worry about what's on top of it all the time, but it has improvements and it looks like a double wide trailer, which market value is $35,000. Now these the ones I go after shit like this. Cause I let that person live in that damn double wide till they die. I don't care. Just give me $1,000 a month. Or give me whatever your market value is. And you just got it for $5,000. So do the same logic. If only 43 people, right, seen this parcel, how many of them is going to spend the money to research it to know if they can even? Oh yeah, Zillow ain't even the one you should end up with checking, but Zillow is pretty good. They pretty good at checking market values. You could go to Realtor.com, but there are other ways you're going to check your market value too. And really, it's going to come down to the MLS, the multiple listing services, which we won't have access to. But you're going to, the research process is to ask somebody to do a BPO on that property, a broker's price opinion. It's like a cheap appraisal. A BPO consists of them giving you 3 comps on recently sold properties. They're also going to give you 3 comps on properties that are currently on the market. With those, the average between those 6 comps is going to give you an accurate market value of your property. You could get a BPO for $40, $40 to $100. So, yeah, but we just doing the quick research. And Zillow is good to see estimate of the market value. So look at how good this one is, though. $5,000, right, is the starting bid. 43 days is a long time because a lot of people going to come in here and look at it over the next 43 days. But the page views only being at 43 is wonderful. And, it has an address. We're going to find something better. We'll find something for about $1,000. They go $7,000 with the address. We're trying to go the opposite direction. We want to get down to the hundreds, man. I've been trying to tell y'all. Now, let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4. 6,000. Yeah, let's see if we can get into under $2,000. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Y'all thought this wasn't real? There it go. Y'all, how can I do that? Every time I be streaming, shit like that happen too much. And it be seeming like I staged it or something. I said, let's see if we could get under $2,000. And the next one was $1,800. Let's see if it has an address. It got an address. Wow. It's almost time to get offline. Because, man, how many people, only 10 people seen it. Dog. It got an address in Lovelock, Nevada. It's only 1,800 starting bid, and only 10 people have seen it. It's already hot. We don't care what it looked like because it's worth more than $1,800. We don't care if it's worth 20 G's. Let's see what it's worth. 132. All right, they gonna pay them taxes. But this is the question. They might be dead. I think they dead. This is the question you have to answer, and I answered it with they dead. The owner's dead. Why am I saying that? Well, you use your brain and figure this out. In the last 5 years, this owner, in order to keep a property worth $132,000, he hasn't paid $1,800. See how my brain works? He's definitely dead. Or it's nobody. Even if you inherited that property, you would have paid, right? You would have paid the $1,800 to keep the $132,000 property. So I would just assume that whoever used to own this is in the care of somebody else, and the owner on the deed they probably don't even know it's gonna get auctioned off. But it's not no business being run over here, but the lot looked too clean though. Right? Man, this is crazy. There you go right there, boy. That's crazy right there. I'm putting that on my watch list. Just to watch it. So you got 43 days to watch it. Now, if you get down to day 13 and this number's still low, like 10, it'd be at like 25 people seeing it. Out of those 25 people, everybody don't want it. They got other ones. This is 179 properties in this auction. So this is a good one, Pershing County. So now, if you a man, you don't own where you live. You might own your house, but I'm saying you don't own Oakland. You don't own Stockton. You don't own nothing. So, right? Who cares if it's in Pershing, Nevada? You just got something you own that's someplace else now. That's good. That's not bad. And then eventually, you have them all over the place. And you start feeling like accomplished. Here's the next one, y'all. $1,100. How many people seen it? 12. Oh, it don't got an address. I ain't even gonna look. I don't like bidding on stuff with no address. You got it because it's gonna be in some unincorporated. Most of the times, no one puts improvements on a parcel that doesn't have an address. Remember that. I hardly never seen improvements on a parcel without an address. Improvements is anything, any building or anything. You know what I'm saying? It's going to just be dirt patches. And dirt patches ain't bad either, but because they accumulate, but you don't want no dirt patch in the area that's not flourishing. Dang, I keep clicking the same one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I guess I'm on number 7. 1,200. Now we get into all these that don't got no address. But this is number 87. Let me remember that. It was 87. Let's try 88. This is $1,000. Oh man, all right, I think I'm getting to the section right here of hella unincorporated areas. Let's try 89. No address. I mean, y'all can look at no addresses. If you want to win, get something that don't got no address. Because, dude, people don't know, huh? So if you want to walk into a bank, oh shit, this say 600 and it got an address, yo. $600. An address. And what else? Oh, only 2 people seen it. Yo, it's Jules on my show. Bruh, you want to change your life? Start following this. I'm not even looked at the property yet. I just do this a lot. See, here's the thing. You don't have to bid to watch and follow auctions. You can start following them to get the knowledge. And what you're going to be sitting at is like, damn, that person just came up. But I seen somebody make like 800,000. I'm looking at the auction like, no, this ain't about to just happen. He whooping fools, like somebody clicked, the number go up, the timer going down. See, the thing is, it's 3 days of the auction. All mature people know, do not do nothing on day 1 and day 2. Please don't get in the auction and click your bid on day one? Why? You want to start the fight on day one? What if you click your bid on day one and then you trigger other dude to click his bid? Now y'all added 48 additional fighting hours to getting the parcel. I be watching these mugs. Sometimes you can watch them and be like, oh, these is real investors. Because it'd be like 30 people and they wait till like the last hour. Then that shit start going doop, 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 doop. And you like, oh, okay, they was just sitting there praying like everybody leaking. I'm gonna wait, put my bid in 5 minutes before it's over. Boop. And then I'm ready to go with my whole 100,000. They probably at the end of their bread because they've been bidding all day. Anyway, this starting at 600 and got an address. We ain't looked at it yet. We are the third person to view that this is even for sale. That's amazing. So this is the type of black man I like to be. You gotta know how to find treasures and shit in this world. Don't you know you want to walk down the street and find a bag of money? This is exactly that. It's just different in a different form, right? So let me see what this is worth. Don't let this be worth nothing, family. I don't even want to put it in Zillow. I'm putting it in Google. I'm scared. All right, so let's see where this look like. First, we're going to look at the property. If it's a house, I'm going to get hella happy. Oh, hell no. You can't be serious. Wait a minute. Oh, hell no. What? Hey, y'all want to come to my desert getaway? Blood, look at that. Hell no. Is this the right address? 12710 Carson Lovelock. Now, this is a harder question to answer. You see chairs sitting here like they used this recently. See what I'm saying? Like this don't look abandoned. The question is, this is the question you have to ask. Only 2 people seen this shit, y'all. The hard question for me to answer in this scenario, peace to Walt Liquor, my man. I still gotta get you on my show. My man Walt Liquor in the building. He got all the publishing knowledge, and one day we gonna get on here and build about that. The question is this, bruh. Why hasn't this person paid $600 worth of taxes in 5 years? You would want to know that. If you could come up with an answer for yourself, it'll help you know whether you want to research this property or not. It looked too good to be true. And so what I'm saying is, I don't got an answer for that. I see usable shit like all around here. You know what I'm saying? I see chairs covered up. I see like they was just sitting on this table yesterday. And so I would just say, they gonna pay that $600. But why? How did it get to this point? That's ridiculous. That's just ridiculous. Let me confirm this the right address, yo. Oh yeah, see, look, it got a 5 and that got a 0. I was about to say. No, this got a 5 at the end. This got a 0. Shit, it's gonna be a dirt patch right next to that, bro. It could not be that. 5. This got a 5. But when I click it, they don't want to show me. So I guess they don't got the street view. I was about to say. Let me see. But all of them we looked at have been similar. But that was just looking like too good to be true. So the street is Carson Drive. Where is Carson Drive? Oh, here we go. Can I walk on the street? So it ain't no street view. Oh, but now you see, yeah, it's gonna just be a dirt. So look, this was that other one probably. Yup, that was that other one. You getting some dirt right next to it. That ain't nothing good. But still, like this, just to keep it real, at $600, I would just do that because $600 normally only get you like a few pair of shoes and shit. So I wouldn't mind owning if the property taxes is low. So you come down here. I don't care if it's a dirt patch, if it's next to somebody's house, and you can see what the property tax is gonna be. If the total assessed value is $2,600 for the tax total, the yearly tax is only $400. But nah, I ain't tripping. That wasn't as juicers as I thought it was. It was an address mistake. You feel me? That's why I was like, I can't answer the question as to why they would let that house go for $600. Now how do I keep clicking? No, this ain't the same house. This is another house for $600. Damn, bro, this Nevada shit crazy. Well, this was the best one ever. 132,000. So let me see the street. Yeah, these is all okay. I see what's going on. They just dirt patching up right now in Nevada County. If you can find one with improvements on it like we found earlier, that's all part of the come up. And people ain't interested in this area because this auction we having like 2 or 3 viewers, bro. Here go another 800. One viewer, one person seen this, and it's for $800. Yeah, they still doing dirt though. You're gonna have to. Well, some of the people already started building their houses, so basically you're just buying a lot where these people is building their houses. But for $800, I wouldn't mind. But anyway, so I'm not as in. So when you start looking at areas like this is what happened, and you see how many people are discouraged to look. It's only one person seeing it, but that don't mean you. These are the ones that people with less money have to look through because you might just find that one. I've done it my own self, and I didn't even believe it. I was like, oh, now see, I kept looking and I came across one that ain't nobody even found. 6 people. The location is 80 Spring Drive, Nevada. That don't sound, yeah, that sound way on the cut. Dirt patch. Feel me? So I will get out of the auction that's giving you back all them dirt patches unless you trying to have 2 G's and do some shit and say, I own a damn property for 2 G's. That was crazy. Yeah, then you can look in those type of auctions. And that was about 2 hours of this. One thing I say is whenever you get information like this on YouTube, always vet and verify, bro. Don't be just taking nobody's word for it. Even though my word is bond, you know, it might be somebody missed. I used it to the best of my knowledge. I showed you my bid history. I'll show you again. Smash Rockwell, deposit summary, where they got nothing on there because that's for my current deposits. But my bid summary, 35 houses watched. I got my courage up for, I won 3. And my bid deposits put in were 4. My seller summary is 0. If I go into the deed wizard, you see 3 deeds. So, and you know, I just was applying what we be, I just was applying what we be applying in our limited little YouTube even research and shit. Shout out to the people who watched this video. I appreciate y'all. I'm gonna come back with another one in a minute because I got time on my hands. I stream when I got time on my hands. And when I get my life in order, I get more time on my hands. You feel me? Right now, I've been having to cover for my daughter's school, bruh, and it's been hard. I've been having to pay my daughter rent at school, right? Because her damn student loan, Trump, man, on some bullshit. Her student loan was taking so long to come through, bro, that I had to pay a couple months of her rent and everything, which is all good. But I don't normally got that in my budget. Like, you know, if it wasn't in your budget, it wasn't in your budget. But it just hit, and that made me feel good that okay, some security for her. Like now her shit good. So, you know, you might have shit in the back of your head like what I'm gonna do if I need to do this for my no, that's all gravity. But yeah, I'm just saying that Trump shit fucking with that money, that government shutdown, that's how it affected my life. To where it got my daughter not getting her damn financial aid, getting it all late. But anyway, that's personal. I wanted to just say, you know, I feel good and so I'm ready to stream and kick it. Bid for assets. I'm gonna close this probably showing some of their endorsement videos. It's a online share of sales. So if you live in a state like Philadelphia, I mean some of the places, I know Philly be doing hella share of sales. See Pennsylvania? You could come and look in here and see people who got their houses confiscated by the sheriff. Look, you get a whole different price. $790, bro. Look. No reserve. With an address in Philadelphia. But 475 people seen it. And 61 days before it happens. These are sheriff confiscated houses. And so you clearly see that bid for assets is 100. They got all the sheriffs in here, bro. And then they even be having sheriff videos. Like, I was like, okay. So let me look and see if I can find one of them before I get up out of here. Right, so, oh well. I might be back with another video, so I'll holler at y'all soon. Peace. Thanks for watching.